team I want to talk about is the New York Liberty.
Shout out to the Liberty, man. They fighting for their playoff lives, man.
They are fighting for their playoffs lives. Right now, I think their record is 14-19. They lost last night to Phoenix. They had beaten Phoenix, pretty good the last time. I think they won like four straight. Ever since their playoff lives were really on the line, they have really kind of bounced back. What I did see in a change, other than last night, when it seems like Sabrina Ionescu is distributing the ball and she's not the vocal point of the offense, they seem to do a whole lot better. It seems when they get in trouble, when they lose games, is when she's doing everything. And I don't think that's no shots at the players. I think this is the thing. Last year the Liberty made the playoffs. So everybody was looking at them like, oh, they're going to take a next step because you went out and you got Sandy Brondello, who just left Phoenix, and they were in the finals. What you don't realize is this is not Sandy Brondello's team. This is Walt Hopkins' team. So, yes, you brought in Stephanie Dolson. Trying to think of who else they brought in. But you brought in Dolson. You activated Hanzu. You haven't really – I think Brondello's still trying to figure it out. I think and this is not a shot at Sabrina, where I feel like Hopkins kind of knew because there was rumors about Sabrina was not happy with Hopkins. Like he wasn't happy because she wasn't the focal point. If you remember last year, it was Blaney, Howard, and Blaney and Howard got going. They had to get going. And Sabrina would do her thing regardless, but they had to be that focal point. Where I think is this season, it's, we're letting Sabrina run the show or we're gunning, but it don't really work. It's not really working. In my eyes, it's not going to work. Like, everybody needs to be on point.
Can I push back on that a little bit?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I agree somewhat with that sentiment. Like I said, I'm more the basketball. You're more the football person.
Go
so
ahead.
On a basketball standpoint, there has been games, not going to point to any particular one, but there has been games where she kind of, for lack of better words and for what the bloggers say, maybe she got a little gun happy.
Yeah.
I will say this. For the most part, to be fair to Sabrina, she has played within her role. Mm-hmm. She has done what you need a distributor guard to score to do. Because I'll say this, if she doesn't take some of those shots that she takes, I'm not saying they can't win. I'm not saying they don't have other scoring options, but just looking at last season, looking at this season, if she doesn't take some of those shots she takes, they're not. Right now, they're sniffing the playoffs. They're not even in that position. We both know that they have injury issues. Laney's come back after being gone the majority of the season. Yeah. And as you pointed out, that's a big piece.
Yeah.
Dee Richard was injured in the beginning of the season. So I think the Liberty issue outside of focusing on Sabrina, whether being a focal point versus her distributing, because I agree with you on that point, has been a mix of injuries. To me, it's more injuries with them. But the games that we've seen that they won, there has been a large distribution. Like, she broke the record. She has 16 assists. So that goes to your point.
Right.
She has 16 assists. Then this also goes to your point. What was it, 4 or 5 players were in double figures?
Yeah.
So they do play better. I would say this, though. When you get deep in the playoffs, they make it past the first round. They get in the playoffs and make it past the first round. You're going to need her to do that. Mm-hmm. Palms start getting sweaty. Knees weak, mom spaghetti, you're nervous. On the surface, you look calm and ready to drop bombs.
Yeah.
She got it in her. You saw when she got fouled to the floor. Now, this is why I go back to the Sykes, where I didn't agree with that technical foul for taunting, because then when she rolled on the floor, she did her little thing.
Yeah, with the flexing.
Yeah. That's some home cooking. But, you want to give her enough leeway to do that because, again, palms get sweaty in the playoffs. Right. And I know she hasn't been there yet, but when she's showing that killer instinct, you're going to want that if they sniff the playoffs.
Right.
But I agree with your other point as far as them being a better team with her distributing. because those 16 assists, she throwing them no-look passes, they're moving, they're flowing. But go ahead.
Yeah, and another thing, too, I don't know what's going on, but Dee Richards has not been playing the last few games, so I don't know what that's about either. So I'm starting to wonder.
That's fair.
You know, with Brondello, like what she's trying to figure out. I don't know. But, I mean, they're fighting for a playoff spot. This is okay because, I mean, let me give it overall about this. Right now, this is okay because it's Brondello's first year. She has to figure out who she wants, what she wants. She's trying to get a feel for the team that she played last year, right? That she played against last year in the playoffs. But next year, this is not going to be acceptable. We didn't bring you in here to like just get in the playoffs no more. And the reason why, not to cut you off, the reason why I say it's acceptable right now, I remember when Lambert came in that first year. The Liberty were a playoff team, but you just know they were never
remember
going
that
nowhere.
year.
Yeah, it was a few years. I was getting tired of watching what it wasn't like. But anyway, make a long story short, they were a playoff team, but they weren't going anywhere. So in comes in Lambert. And he got Tina Charles, and he couldn't get him in the playoffs his first year.
Tina Charles.
And this was Tina Charles.
Pearson. Shout out to Pynette Pearson and all of them.
Yeah. This is Tina Charles in her prime, and he couldn't get her in her first year. So the next year they got to the finals. Meaning, in other words, let's see how this plays out at the end of the season, and they make the playoffs, and let's also see what she does in the offseason because that's what's going to be their improvement. I mean, the Liberty's been around for years. I don't think they've ever won a title. I don't think they've ever won a title. So
let's just do a little research just in case.
So Joseph Tsai is looking, and being the owner that Tsai is, he don't went all out, with the Brooklyn Nets, and he's going all out with the Liberty.
He ain't do nothing with them Nets, man. Come on, don't do that.
This year you go again, man. Yes, he did.
Okay, 3 conference titles, 0 titles.
Yeah,
so
no
you're
titles.
correct. Don't get me started on Joseph Tsai because I want to stay in the W.
Okay.
I think they will be a lot better next year when you have an off season for Laney and Dee Richard to get fully healthy. Then you also got to remember Sabrina's ace from Oregon, the draft pick, was injured. When she got drafted, she was out. When you have continuity with a player and cohesion, especially from college, that is coming on the team, that's going to be another option off the bench, another young gun who's going to be 19, 20 years, however old she is, but going to be a young gun that you're familiar with her game. Look at the games where she's having 13 assists here, 10 assists here. You're going to have Howard playing the pick and roll with you. Then you're going to have, what's her name again? I'm sorry.
Who? Howard?
No.
Laney?
The girl you said, Sally?
Sally, yeah.
Yeah, then you're going to have her coming off the bench, hitting her with the pick and roll in the low post game. I see them being a lot better with those players who were injured, getting healthy, and then their draft pick getting healthy. So I'm not worried. And I'm not saying this to be biased because we're New York Liberty and we do media for them. But no bias attended. To me, it's really helpful with the Liberty, and I see them being a lot better next year.
Okay. Do you see him making the playoffs this season?
Okay, you threw that this season in.
Yeah.
It's tough because they lost a close one to the Mercury. I would have loved for them to beat the Mercury and put their foot down. It's.
And I think they got back to.
They got Dallas coming up, if I'm not correct.
It's back to back, right?
Yeah. What spot are they in right now?
They're in the 9th spot.
So they fell out of the 8th spot.
Yeah. They got back-to-back games. Or no, wait. Tomorrow's Monday.
Yes.
Okay, Monday, Wednesday. Yeah, every other. Yeah. So they got a game tomorrow and they got a game Wednesday, and both in Dallas.
So you put me on the spot. F it. We've been covering the Liberty since 2011, since Cappy Poindexter was a point guard. Shout out to Pynette Pearson and all them that was there back then in the days. Kia Vaughn and all them. We was there. We remember. I'm rocking. I'm 10 toes down.
You think they're going to get in?
I'm 10 toes down, Liberty.
Oh, boy.
I'm 10 toes down. Shout out to the Liberty. Been rocking since Cappy Poindexter. Poindexter was a point guard. Kia Vaughn and them. Pynette Pearson. I'm 10 toes down. Y'all making the playoffs this year, man. Yeah. I'm standing on that.
You say so.
Oh, yeah. You want to put, what did Shannon Sharp say? You want to put some dew on it? You want to put some Pepsis on it, man?
Yeah, we got some Pepsis on it.
We're going to put a case of Pepsis on that, man.
I would Pepsi, you're gonna what, bet they're in?
Yeah.
Right.
A case of Pepsi, man. I'm standing 10 toes down on it. I'm rocking with the Liberty, man.
All right. I'll be the bad guy and say they won't. Not that I believe they won't. I'm just gonna say I'm gonna make the bet.
Okay.
All right.
Shout out to the Liberty.
Shout out to the Liberty.